I'm KaedI Worley, and this is my day one. So I have some exciting news. I'm a little bit nervous, a little bit, I call it nervited. So nervous and excited at the same time. Change is always, even if you're a person who really loves change, there's some exhilaration, but also some trepidation, right? So I want to share with you a little version of my story in real estate. And I hope that whether you're a realtor and you're just getting started, or maybe you're somebody who is curious about my career, or maybe you are a realtor who's been in the game a while and just wants to hear something that motivates you or inspires you or shares your own story possibly. I want this to be something where we can connect and feel like we get to know each other. Or you know what, you could be a client of mine that's clicking on some videos on my channel and you want to hear just what this girl's about. So I'm going to get right to it, and I'm going to journey with you a little bit through my real estate career and some of my whys that you may or may not know. And then I'm going to tell you something really exciting at the end. Okay, so I started real estate in what a lot of people may not know as a really like a rough patch in my life, kind of. So my kids were just getting to the point where they could drive. And all my life, I've got tons of friends that are realtors, tons of friends that are brokers, all throughout my life, especially in the last, the adult years, I was told over and over and over, oh my gosh, KaedI, you should get your real estate license. Oh, you'd be perfect for that. Oh, you should sell houses, like all the things. But when am I going to time myself? When am I going to find time to start a brand new career, right? At that time, I was coaching a high school softball team and 2 youth sports teams. I had 2 little kids. I was going to Bible college. I was all the things, right? I was an infant care nanny for 15 years. I was cleaning hair salons. I was a single mom with 2 little girls, cleaning hair salons on Sundays and Mondays so that I could make ends meet and all those things. So when in the world would I ever have the time to start a brand new career that I had so much respect for, but I also knew that it was going to be an all or nothing commitment, right? Well, I guess it was 2018 or so, I found myself in a position where a 7-figure business that we had decided to implode on itself, and due to some series of events, I will not bore you with that, we ended up not only losing our entire income, but now having lots of debt on top of that to make up for the business that failed. So shouldn't say failed, it's successful, but stuff happens and things go away that you think are going to be there forever. I did learn that lesson. So I found myself not having to drive the kids to school and with some time on my hands, and I called a friend who was in the business and who had a team at the time, which may or may not make sense to you, but at that time she had a team, which meant an opportunity for me to learn not only from getting my license, but from other agents, and I wouldn't be doing it by myself. And so that was attractive to me. So she encouraged me to go to school. I had $0. So at the time I was overwhelmed by that, but I could feel my heart just being pulled up over all these years to go join some version of this amazing industry. It's just been kind of there on a bucket list, if you will. She offered me the opportunity to pay her back with my first commission. She saw something in me that she knew I was made for this industry. She told me that a number of times. And so I did. I took an Oklahoma Real Estate Academy condensed course, if you will. I'm not super patient, and I was ready to get it done. So I said about a 2-week course, and every single person that is in at least Northeast Oklahoma, I think they're all over the state of Oklahoma, if they're thinking about getting their license, that's absolutely 100% where we recommend they go to class, because the people there, even now in my career, I can send them a text message or something along those lines, and they are vested interested in me. They want me to help. They will help however they can, and they've proven that time and time again. I love them, I trust them, and they helped me pass my real estate exam on the very first try, which, in case you don't know that, that's not common. So that's helpful, by the way, if you're going to take the test, or maybe you didn't pass the test on the first time, be encouraged. That's not typical. Most people have to take it at least twice. That being said, I joined a brokerage. My first brokerage was Coldwell Banker Select. I gotta say, I think there's a part of me that will always bleed blue. I was born into that family. I didn't take the time to compare other brokerages. I didn't really even understand team structure. I just knew I wanted to be a realtor and go sell houses, and I thought that that was the way that everyone kind of did it. And I was excited about the concept of team. I've been an athlete and a coach all my life, so I was ready to jump into a team and be a team player and support the team and go build some great things together. And I saw that same mindset and culture at Coldwell Banker. So I will say, I don't know that I would be in the same place, definitely not my first year in the business, without the kind of connection, like the family connection that is at Coldwell Banker Select in Tulsa. I believe at both South and Midtown locations, that's kind of the culture. Now that I know people at both places, I think that they try to really build relationships with each other and want long-term success for each other. Coldwell also had classes, like if you were willing to go put yourself in a seat in their classroom, Coldwell Banker gave you that opportunity as a new agent. So I did understand the value of the education. So I found myself in the seat when there was a time to learn. And I think that that also was a huge factor in me feeling confident and knowing what the heck I was doing in this very complex industry. So it came to the point where I was on my own 2 feet, so to speak. That particular team had a source lead that was heavily buyer's agents, and it was wild and crazy because I think there were 5 or 6 of us on the team, and most people were not motivated to respond to all those leads. And you got to be like ready to go, like in your car, because they're buyers and they're ready to go. They want to go see a house. But for me, man, I was hungry, right? I told you I didn't have any money. And I saw something where now I got to go make it happen, because you're not paid until 30, 45, 60 days past the contract. And so there was some work to be done. So I figured out borrowed gas money, like legit, like borrowed gas money to be able to go to the office and print off the MLS forms and go do showings, and started putting people on contract, and stuff started getting kind of crazy. But it got to where I was a multi-million-dollar producer my first year. Thank you again to Coldwell Banker and the training and the people that answered questions and the late night, major mega star producers that would let me poke my head into their office and ask them a question that they didn't have to answer. They weren't compensated to answer, but they did. I'm grateful, because without those people being willing to do that, not only would I not have accomplished anything I accomplished, but also have such a passion to pay it forward now. And there's more to that later, but I digress. So that team structure was good for me in a way that it provided a lead source, and I got my feet wet, and I had a lot of like trial by fire learning situations, right? It came to the point where it was kind of towards the end of the year, and I felt like I was grown enough. So there's something called a commission split. If you don't know that, if you're on a team, you have a regular split. So you pay your brokerage a portion of your commission, and then you make an agreement with whoever is leading your team. Like that team has its own compensation plan within that split, where you give an additional percentage of every commission that you make to the team. And the team uses that to market or to pay an admin or branding. There's a bunch of different value exchanges, and it's different on every team. Every structure and every value exchange is different. So make sure if you're new that you go ask those questions, like what am I getting for that exchange? Because it's like investing back in your business, and it does make sense, but they should be able to explain, for the money that you're paying me, here's what you're getting. And then you can make a good business decision on that. So I decided it's time for me to stand on my own. I worked up the courage to go tell my friend. Remember my friend who helped me get in the business? She did. She paid for my school, and she paid for my, the testing procedures and things like that. And she did allow me to pay that back out of my first commission. And so that was a huge deal for me. But now that I had learned and I was ready to fly the nest, and honestly didn't want to continue to give up 40-50% of my income to the team, I let her know. I went to her office. I was nervous as heck, right? Like I didn't want to let her down. I was scared that I was making a bad decision. But I walked into her office one afternoon and said, I think it's time for me to be on my own. it took a lot of courage to work that up, but I had no idea how she was going to respond to that. This is somebody who has been a very close friend to me. She's family to me. Our daughters are very close, all the things. Immediately from that moment, not only did I lose my first comfort zone on a team and in real estate, I lost a friend, like 180 degrees. And I have to tell you now, fast forward 3 years or so, that still is like such a heartbreaking wound to me that it has changed my, like, I never, ever, ever, like, one of my core values now and moving forward from that moment is that if anyone ever, whether I help them on a team structure officially like that, or whether it's somebody who is brand new and asks me questions or shadows me or whatever, I will never ever make it about me. I will, something about the way that that transaction went down made me understand that my being part of her team wasn't because we were friends. I think that was part of it, but the majority of it was because, like, I really don't know how else to say it besides she could make money off of me, and she did. So there's a value exchange, and I think it didn't just cost me my split, it cost me a friendship that I really cared about. So that's a personal thing that I really haven't even addressed or shared with people, but I do think I should say so, because especially when you're getting involved in a career that's brand new and one that's people-based like real estate is, it's really important that you don't just like go where your friend's going. Like I did. And I'm only saying that out of my own personal experience. Sometimes it works out really well. Now there's a lot of people that I know and that I trust, and that I've now been in a brokerage with somebody who is a friend, who will stay a friend outside or inside of her brokerage, and she modeled the right way to handle that when you are working with friends. So make sure that you are prepared that that relationship, you know, when you mix business and friendship, it doesn't always work out in the end for the best. It becomes a season instead of lifelong. And that really, really like changed me in a way, right? So don't do that. I'm going to leave that right there because I don't want to get emotional. But okay, moving on. So I was on my own. They moved me to an office down the hall, about 15 feet away from somebody else who I respect and admire, and I love. He's an amazing human being, Sam Rader of KaedI Banker Select. He is someone who is in the office every day. He's giving back to the industry every day. He's gentle and kind, but so wise. And he is someone who, I'm this new agent that's, you know, doing all these things and video and all the things, very different, kind of shaking the old school up. And he saw that and he encouraged that in me. In fact, Sam and I got to give you a shout out, Sam, if this video ever gets to you, or if you guys know him, tell him I send my love and admiration that he was willing to, quote, according to him, be an old dog that learns new tricks. He was asking how to use BombBomb and videos and teleprompter and the light sources. And when he saw how to do it, he did it. And he started doing videos himself, setting example for KaedI Banker agents. And I admire and respect that about him. I would digress to not give a shout out to someone who became kind of a father figure to me, and that's Ken Rutherford. Ken is not only somebody who would coach you in a contract or always answer his phone no matter what to help you. He's someone who would stop by my office and kind of lean in and take a peek at morning, evening, all the times that I was there. And when he could see a need, or maybe when he couldn't, he would stop by and ask if it was okay if he could pray over me, or ask me to like just open my heart and to share with him really what's going on when he could sense there was something that I was kind of trying to overcome. He was one to kind of be patient and quiet and pull it out of me at the right time. And I'm not going to cry talking about you, Ken, but it does. I will never forget your kindness. So I'm going to move on past that too. See, this is what I mean. So KaedI Banker has those relationships, and I could talk about more. I could name 10 people that are rock stars that I respect and love and like admire, and I give credit to anything I accomplish now, any accomplishment in the future, to people who are willing to humble themselves and to sow into me, even if it was answering a simple question. There's a list and there's names, and I remember every single one of them. But I don't want to go through that in this video because that would be kind of weird. Okay, so I went into Sam's office one time because I began to have this vision for a team. I had a team idea now that I had been on one that was very different than what I'd experienced. I had built a team in a different type of business nationally, and I learned how to serve people the way that people need to be served. And I thought, man, if there's a way I can do this and also serve people, I know I could help people. I know we could join forces and make it what I thought I was getting into. And I was passionate. I could see the branding and the concept and some of the ways to make it different. And I remember walking into Sam's office and sitting down and asking him, I'm a producer and I just left a team. I'm on my own. So now every single day I'm getting text messages and phone calls from people that I respect. And I'm actually kind of blown away that they're reaching out to me saying, hey, if you're looking to join a different team, that we have a spot for you and we'd like to talk about it. And I did. I went and met with several people that, I was nervous to even talk to them, even though we were friends. They wanted me to be part of what they were doing, and it humbled me. And I'm still look back and go, I don't take that for granted. I won't put them on blast here, but if you happen again to be watching this video, I'm grateful, and it made me stand a little taller that you saw something in me that was worth inviting me to your team. So I'm not gonna be emotional about that again. But Sam, who again, I really admire and respect. I look up to him kind of as a coach or a mentor. I sat in his office and said, tell me, should I be on a team since it's my first year in real estate, or should I be by myself? I'm a little nervous about how to go forward with this. And he said, KaedI, the only team that you should be on right now is the KaedI Worley team. And you need to put at least 2 years under your belt before you're ready for that. So I kind of sat there and thought, okay, those are numbers that I can understand, and it's wisdom, and I respect what he said. So I said, time to go to work. So I did, and I was by myself, and I was proud of what I was accomplishing. In the next 3 months, I would have my first $1 million day. I remember talking about Sam, I remember walking down the hall, high-fiving him, because I had written $1 million of the contracts in one day, and I was like, man, that's a day I will never forget. I wrote it on a calendar. And he celebrated that with me. And that, to me, that was special. A special high five. But in that same season, in December, my first year, I had $10,000 worth of commission of busted contracts. And it wasn't multiple. It was 2 contracts that busted that I got to say, I was so excited, and the train was going down the tracks. And so I was counting on that for Christmas and bills and all the things, because remember, we were still digging out of this ditch. When you have $10,000 that you thought was coming in at Christmas just go away, you realize you're not in a safe career. You're in a career that you have to plan well and run like a business and not be paycheck to paycheck, as hard as that is, and really not count on it until it's in your bank. And that's harsh, but if you're, again, a new agent, I want to tell you that, because it sounds obvious, but I'm telling you, that December kicked me in the face. My kids, that was the first time ever that I had to figure out, I had to sell some stuff that I owned to try to make sure that they had something under the Christmas tree. And I promised myself I would never put myself in that position again. And that's the lightest, happiest version of that story I can give you. But obviously, it was crushing. We lost the house we were renting. We owed money to people that were helping us. We, like I said, my kids got one little box under the Christmas tree, and I got to express to them how important it was that we're grateful, but man, it hurt. And so I will never put myself in that position again. And that's advice to you, that you should always keep kind of some balance and not count on stuff till it's there, or keep some savings. Be smart with your money. And don't forget to pay your taxes. Put some to the side, because that's the same kind of situation where it could literally sink your career. So trucking right along, the next quarter, January, February, I'm doing my job as an independent agent, and I get a phone call from someone in the industry that I trust. She's an advisor to me, and she says, KaedI, I know that you don't want to be on a team, but hear me out. I have somebody who has 8 years in the industry who is fabulous. You guys are completely opposite personalities, but this might just work. She wants for a season at least, a teammate that is a partner with her. So she wanted to move out of state and she didn't want to have to start a career all over again. So she wanted to kind of split it 50-50, like a two-headed agent, where somebody was here on the ground and serving people and doing all of those things, and then handing the contract off to her, and she would handle all the contract stuff, and we would work together on all of them and just split it. Well, that was fun for me, right? Because contracts are not my strong suit. I know how to do them, but I don't love doing them. That I think there's a personality type. I'm my transaction coordinator. I'm so grateful for her now that I can do that because she loves it. So it made sense to me to at least pay attention. Well, that particular person happened to be at Keller Williams. So it meant a transition for me from that family in blue that I love so much. Y'all, I love the branding. I love like I said, the culture, the location, everything at Team Coldwell, but the business decision that was best for me at that time was to go to this partnership agreement, and it happened to be at Keller, literally right across the street. That's not awkward at all. So I did go over there. I never went through the onboarding. I never went through any of the training. I was already producing, so it was just kind of like a lateral move. And I'll say that the people over there, Elizabeth Rains and Gloria, they really helped a smooth transition, like where they took it kind of out of my hands and did it for me, encouraged me, pat me on the back and said, go get her done. And I'm grateful for that because it could have bogged things down and like required me to do a bunch of things and go through some stuff that it would have slowed me down business wise. And so they saw again something in me that encouraged me to keep running. Over that year, again, it was a successful year between my partner and I there. We were very different personalities and very strong personalities and loved people and loved what we do. So I learned so much from her. She's a very, like I said, contract lover. And so I learned how to be excellent. I learned how to only use verbiage that the legal real estate attorneys have come up with to protect your client. I learned how to be excellent in contracts and timelines and all of the things because she was very adamant that we do so. So I'm grateful to you, grateful to her if she happens to be listening to this, that I did learn a lot during our partnership, and we'll take some great things away from the buffet that was, and I'm grateful. So over almost a year's time, us together, multi-million-dollar producers, we did some great things together. We sold a house very quickly. I think it was $160,000 over asking price. It was like just some beautiful experiences together, and I'm grateful for that season. I did notice, because I didn't go through training and the comp plan is different, I did notice there were some like profit sharing checks that would just randomly come. I kept a little bit more of my money because I had a different split, but it was also a different culture. Nothing negative. It's kind of like I said, they saw I was going and they let me go. So that could be a different experience if you're brand new and you start there and you go through all of their training. I'm sure that's a different experience. But I kind of popped into the office to drop off papers or pick up the mail or a check and leave. So everybody was nice, but it was a different kind of divided up in chunks culture. There's some fantastic, fabulous, amazing people over there. And for a lot of people, that's the shoe that fits, right? So it got to a point where in October of 2020, I had the worst tragedy of my entire life happen. I lost my baby sister. We're 14 months apart. It was definitely unexpected. Suddenly, it was 11 days after my 40th birthday. It rocked me, and I don't get really rocked. I've been through a lot of stuff in my life, a lot of things to overcome, but this is something that hit me out of the blue and took the wind out of my sails, like took away my sails really for a while. So obviously if you're a business partner with someone and the boots on the ground person is not sailing, it's easy to be compassionate, but it's also difficult to continue to run a business that way. So she onboarded a couple of other agents and then kind of started building her system, which is her like rock star forte of kind of and I would call it an inside sales agent, like following up. She had an amazing group of lead systems, and she wanted a whole lot of follow-up on the leads on the phone every day and emailing every day and touches every day. And if you like that, there are plenty of opportunities for you to go out there. Like people like me need people like that, who enjoy like working from home on the computer and are like good communicators and consistent and willing to kind of warm up a lead. Those people are treasures, and she is one of those people, and she started building a team that way and having kind of those expectations for all agents. Totally get that. And so I thought it was probably time for me to go. Like we did our thing and got it off the ground and got systems going, and now she had some team members that would help her continue the journey. And so for me, it was time to go prepare. Now I'll say all of this time, like since that moment in Sam's office and that time that I said I had like this vision and image of what God was maybe kind of building and stirring in me, from that point forward, like I knew it was like kind of being pregnant for a really long time, right? There's more and more and more like pieces of the puzzle that started coming together for a team. So I thought maybe I'm supposed to go build a team now. I don't know, God, because I was like heavy, like there may be a heaviness that I was carrying with me every day. It didn't take me down. I didn't stop moving, but I just kind of felt like I had a wet blanket on me all the time. Like the pain and the grief that I had never experienced, like was changing how passionate and energized I was. I'm a national social media trainer. I've done it for years. I built my business off of it. I got my $2.3 million listing. I got that from my influence on social media. And I gained an amazing friend out of it, and we sold her house more than what she thought it was going to sell for. So that's a win, right? But when you are hit by something hard like that, it does impact your social media reach. It does impact your ability to get on camera like this and just be real, because I feel like you do need to be real. It's like, well, I'm just sitting here kind of casually talking to you today is because I wanted somebody to share their story and to see how I can relate to them and they can relate to me. And for me, that was tough to get on camera and to try to kind of fake it. And so it took me back. That's a social media tip right there. Like there's no staying still. You're either going backwards or forwards, and you can lose a lot of ground and basically have to start all over again. So I don't feel like it was the right opportunity to build a team. I felt like while the baby was still there, it was starting to build folders and branding and all of those things. It just wasn't the right time yet. I still felt like I needed another layer. I need to be able to give somebody something to follow. And while I was producing millions, like I was doing a lot of sales, I, as a person, wasn't in a full cup position, meaning like where I had overflow to give out to other people because I was still kind of in this survival mode. So I have a friend who I love, admire, respect. She has been a realtor for 20 years. She's a broker. She's grown up in the industry. Her dad's a builder. She loves Jesus and her husband and her kids. And she is someone who sat down and had coffee with me when I was at other brokers and just fed into me and just saw me and loved me for who I was, not just for what I could do for her. Probably 2 years of conversation, and it was time for me to go spend some time underneath her leadership and glean and learn from her and grow as a woman and as a realtor. And I'm grateful for that time because I really feel like God put her in my life, and maybe me in her life at that time, because we needed more than just real estate relationship, right? We needed some heart connection and some encouragement and prayer and all the things that bond people together, but especially women. So I joined Renaissance Realty. I also wanted the experience of a boutique, a small brokerage that wasn't the big name brand. And how does that go? I knew I had a little more personal flexibility there where if something was on my heart, I could go sit down directly with my broker and be malleable. I wasn't going to be restricted to personal branding, like social media branding, signs, videos, all of those things. She was definitely going to make sure that I was compliant because she's very involved. Now she's the president of our entire real estate association here in the area. Like she's again, like I said, heavily involved in real estate law and the guidelines and bylaws and community that make up the greater Tulsa area. So I had a lot of respect for her, but I knew that underneath her leadership, I would gain some strength there and learn how to protect clients, both buyers and sellers, better, learn best practices, systems. Oh my gosh. She has taken a lot of time building amazing systems, and it was the first time I was introduced to using a transaction coordinator. Y'all, that is a game changer. It's an investment, but those people with that skill set, I'm telling you, are sent from heaven. Like my transaction coordinator there, I just want to hug her. She made me feel like everything was on track, even when I was kind of doing a lot of stuff and busy and still kind of dealing with grief through that year. So I'm forever grateful for her, and I will be team TC transaction coordinators for personality types like me for that reason. Of course, somebody is blowing leaves next door. Okay, so I'll fast forward and wrap it up. We're 30 minutes into this. It's time to get to the part that you're probably watching this video for, right? So I did not feel like it was the appropriate thing at the brokerage that I was just talking about to build a team for a couple of reasons. I was a self-producer, self-starter. Like I could come work in my home office or go to a coffee shop or be sitting on a poolside lounge chair, and I could build my business or answer calls. But I know that there's a personality type that needs like in-person connection to be able to be productive, or needs to be able to go to a physical place or whatever. I also have a vision to be able to help people that are not just right here in my backyard. They're not, speaking of backyard, they're not just right here in my backyard, but they are all over the country, all over the world, and they just want somebody to see them and to coach them and to help them. And I know that that's in me. I know that I can do that. I've done it before, and I'm ready and excited to be able to do that. And that was, while it was a fabulous, amazing brokerage, I kept more of my own money. They were willing to work with me when it came down to personal growth. So if I wanted to go in and say, hey, let's discuss our plans for compensation, and are you willing to change it? I think they would have definitely been willing to do that for me and see me as a person, because she wants to see me grow. But they personally, because of the way they're structured and the training programs and things like that they have, and their goals is to be a fabulous local broker. Like they have long-term community, they want to serve multiple generations and all of those things, and so do I, but I want to be able to empower other people to do that too. And so to give them the most amount of money, long-term residual, a retirement plan, connections wherever you are. So if you have family in one state, family in another state, or friends vice versa, you're able to help them grow if you have the desire to do so. Or you can work in both states. Like there's a whole lot of things that can happen when you're with a brokerage that sees the national picture or international picture, that I felt like was a long-term thing that I would be remiss if I didn't provide that to anyone that I asked to come along and follow me. So that brings me to the very end. The move that I'm making right now, today, this week, there's a process. It's several days. An emotional move because I love and respect my friends. Unlike my first situation, I was very nervous and apprehensive going into a relationship with a friend in business, but now, because of her respect and love and just the character, who she is, the grace that is on her, and her genuine concern that I become the best version of myself and follow the leading of God, and together we celebrate that in each other. She was graceful, and she encouraged me to go do what God's called me to do. And so I'm not going to cry about that, but I'm grateful. So if she happens to be watching this, I will never forget that, and I will carry my career with the same grace that you gave me, and I'm grateful. So that being said, we made the decision. I made a decision to move to the next brand, and I believe that will be long-term for sure, if not the final place where I stay. EXP was built for my experience, and I was actually introduced to EXP by the person who brought it to Tulsa. Great guy. I have a lot of respect for him. He's got a radio show. He's a great guy, invests in a lot of people, but I guess I didn't really quite understand at that time the opportunity. And maybe it's just God's protection and timing, because I'm such a stronger person in real estate, like a stronger agent, but definitely a better leader, ability to equip. And I've had experience on other brokerages and teams that I know can bring value to anyone that comes to follow me or is mentored by me. So I am so excited to be able to offer anyone that just wants help. Like I built a company that was successful because I was able to listen to people, what they need and what their dreams were, and just kind of help them get there. And when you help enough people get what they want or need, I really believe that you never have to worry about your own wants and needs. Like there's such a fulfillment for me in watching someone go, like nervously say what they want out of life or what their dreams are, like the job they would do for free, and then see like the day one step of that beginning, or the huge things that you go, like I was there when they were like nervous to like put it on their vision board, and now I get to be there to celebrate when they do it. Like that, you guys, like that's better than any paycheck. That's better than any, like, for me, like that's what fuels me. I want to see people light up. I want to see home buyers that didn't think they could buy a house buy their first house and hand them their keys. I think I cry more than they do. I want to see people, women who have been in abusive situations, who just have no idea what they're going to do and no wind in their sails, like me during that season. Like I want to see them get up. I want to help them get up, and I want to help them know that they did it and that they can do it and make themselves proud and change the legacy that they're, moving forward for their kids, and build something that they can not only enjoy themselves currently, like when you sell a house, but have a long-term plan where it continues to pay you even after you retire, and you can will that to your children. So that's one of the big things about real estate, something that I definitely noticed, and why I chose to build a team at EXP is because I can give my team members the ability to have mailbox money, like residual income outside of selling houses, plus a long-term benefit that offers them a retirement plan. And that can look like a lot of different things, or maybe it offers them an extra house payment on their house so they can pay that off early, or a college savings plan. Like there's a lot of things that can benefit their family long term that I saw nobody else in the business doing. So I'm very excited about that. I think it's going to help a lot of people right now. Basically, if you're a realtor, when you sell a house, you make a commission, you pay a portion of that to taxes, you reinvest back in your business, so marketing and fuel and car maintenance and all of those things. And then you have it's a business, right? Then you have your profit, if you will, and you live off of that. But when that's gone, guess what? It's gone unless you invest it in something else or you sell another house. And that's fine. That's commission only. That's how it works. We're in business. But what if you had a way to only make that one stream of income? Like what if there were 3 or 4 other ways that you can make money doing the same thing, but one of them pays you for years, and it has nothing to do with whether you sell a house personally or not? Like that's attractive, right? So that's a simplification, maybe an oversimplification of just a huge chunk of why I felt like, yes, like this is the shoe that fits. And this is something that not only can I teach someone how to brand themselves personally, obviously at no matter what brokerage they're with, I also can show them how to take that personal branding and make it pay them exponentially each week or each month, and give them a chance to have something to leave a legacy for their kids. And gosh, that blew my mind. I'm simplifying that, but it's exactly why I'm making this move, and I'm excited. I'm connecting with some people that are on fire for helping people, and that fuels me, man. It just fires me up. I gotta say, they've sold houses too. They're selling houses. They're multi-million-dollar producers. They know what they're doing. 20 years in the business, all the things. But they have walked some time down this journey that I'm just stepping foot on. And they're going, KaedI, this is the real deal. And it's where you're supposed to be. And I agree. Because it's not just where I'm supposed to be. It's where I'm supposed to help others be. And watch those magic moments that I was talking about. Watch the light come on and the shoulders relax and the tears of like, I didn't ever really think this could happen for me. All the ingredients are there if somebody's willing to work and somebody's willing to believe and lock arms and be coachable. This is a limitless opportunity, and I'm just so grateful. Lots of steps to get here. I understand them now because it took those trips and falls and weirdness and uncomfortable, and it took all those lessons that I kind of nutshelled in a 45-minute video to be prepared today. I've launched the brand, I've got a studio, I've got all the training and equipment, and I'm ready to teach people how to take their personal business and their personal brand to whatever level they want to take it to, and make the most money they can make doing what they're doing, and be excited to do what they do every day because they're serving other people. And that just, I can't wait to see what happens. I'm KaedI Worley, and this is my day one.